Hello students, how are you? Hope that all of you are fine. However, I am also fine. I am Sharmila Choudhury, working at Rajajisi High School as an assistant teacher. Today I am going to take a class of grade 10, unit 14, lesson 10. Okay. Now we will read some words with the synonyms. Unusual, uncommon, casket, coffer, glitter, sparkle, plain, simple, disappointed, depressed, appearance, outlook. Now we will read the text. The three caskets. Basani went to Belmont to visit Portia, grandly dressed, with many servants. Portia's father had died lately. Before his death, he had thought of an unusual plan to find a good husband for his daughter. He wanted a man to marry Portia for herself and not for her wealth. He had 3 caskets made, one of gold, one of silver, and one of lead. One of the caskets had Portia's portrait in it. The suitor who would first choose the casket with the portrait would marry her. The first one to try was the Prince of Morocco. He thought that silver and lead are poor metals. It is the casket made of precious metal that can hold the precious picture. So he chose the gold casket, but all he found was a picture of a skull with a message that said, "All that glitters is not gold." The prince was very sad and went back home. Then came the Prince of Spain. He looked at the silver casket for a long time. On it was written, "He who chooses me will get what he deserves." The prince had a very high opinion about himself. He thought that he deserved the best. He therefore chose the silver casket and opened it. Inside the casket, he found the picture of a blinking fool. He was very disappointed and offended. He immediately rode away. Then it was Bassanio's turn. He looked at the caskets for a long time. He thought, appearances are often misleading. Bad men appear good and they hide their inner ugliness under fine clothes. So he chose the plain-looking lead casket. On opening the casket, he found the portrait of Portia inside. Bassanio and Portia got married. There was great joy at Belmont, and the newly married couple were spending their time happily. But soon their happiness turned into sorrow by a piece of news. A messenger came with a letter from Antonio. The letter said, "Dear friend Bassanio, all my ships have been lost at sea. I cannot pay the money I owe to Shylock, so I have to pay the penalty. Dear friend, come and see me if possible. I would like to see you once before I die." Bassanio quickly left for Venice. Today we will read another lesson 2. Lesson 11. Here are some words with their synonyms. Defense, rebuttal. Urge, motivate. Uncover, reveal. Shed, discard. Now we will finish the story. Okay. Lesson 11. The trial. When Bassanio reached Venice, Antonio was already in the court of justice. They were waiting for the trial to begin. The Duke entered the courtroom, took his seat, and the trial began. The Duke requested Shylock to be merciful and not to claim his pound of flesh. But Shylock would not listen to him. Bassanio offered him twice the amount of money that Shylock lent Antonio, but Shylock did not accept it. He said, "I claim my pound of flesh. The law is on my side. Antonio must pay the penalty written in the bond." The Duke was extremely sorry that he could do nothing to help Antonio. The law was on Shylock's side, and the law must be abided. The Duke feared that, although the wisest lawyer in Venice was coming to speak in defense of Antonio, he would not be able to save the merchant. Soon a young clerk entered the courtroom with a letter from that lawyer. The lawyer was ill and would not able to come to the court. He requested the Duke to let his young friend, Dr. Balthazar, defend Antonio. The Duke gave his permission and Dr. Balthazar entered the courtroom. He looked very young, and the Duke doubted if the wisdom of the young lawyer could save Antonio. This young lawyer was no other than Portia in disguise, and the young clerk was her friend, who was also in disguise. Portia begged Shylock to be merciful and told him how God bestows mercy to those who are merciful themselves. Mercy, Portia said, brings a blessing to him who shows it and to him who receives it. All of us pray to God for mercy, but God will only have mercy on us if we have mercy on others. Shylock paid no heed to Portia. All he wanted was his pound of flesh. Portia asked, "Can't Antonio pay the debt?" Bassanio cried, "Yes, he can pay it, and even more. Even I can pay 10 times the sum my friend borrowed from Shylock." "Won't you take the money, Shylock?" Portia asked. "No, I demand the lawful penalty. Give me my pound of flesh." "Let me see the bond, Shylock," said Portia. Shylock handed the bond to her. She read it with great attention and then said, "You are right, Shylock. The law is on your side. You can claim the flesh, but I would request you one more time to accept the sum Bassanio is offering you, and let me tear up the bond." But Shylock would not give up his claim. Portia then turned towards Antonio and said, "Get ready, Antonio, for Shylock to cut his pound of flesh. The law gives it to him." Shylock was filled with joy on hearing what Portia said. He began to praise Portia in disgust. For her wisdom and righteousness, he cried out, "Oh, noble judge! Oh, excellent young man! You are a second general who has come to this earth." Portia asked Shylock to cut the pound of flesh. He demanded. Delighted, Shylock walked towards Antonio with a knife in hand. He told Antonio to uncover his chest, but as he was about to cut Antonio's flesh, Portia stopped him. She cried out, "Wait a second, Shylock, never forget. There is no mention of blood in the bond. Therefore, you cannot shed a single drop of blood while you cut your pound of flesh, or else you pay the penalty. And the penalty is the state will take your property from you. You lose everything that you have now, Shylock." Shylock understood it was not possible for him to cut a pound of flesh without shedding blood. He was defeated by the wise lawyer. He hung his head and without another word left the courtroom. Thus, Antonio's life was saved. Now we will complete questions. Answer the following questions. Who was Portia? Portia was a daughter of a rich man in Vermont. She was also a beloved wife of Bassanio. Number 2. Why did Portia's father make such a strange plan? Portia's father wanted to get married her off to a good man, so he made such a strange plan. Number 3. How many people attempted to choose the right casket? Three people attempted to choose the right casket. Why did the joyous mood at Belmont turn into sadness? The joyous mood of Belmont turned into sadness as a messenger from Antonio came to Belmont to give a letter to Bassanio. Number 5. Sketch the character of Antonio. Antonio was a kind and rich merchant of Venice. He helped the poor with money, but he did not charge interest from them. He helped his friend Bassanio. Even he was ready to give a pound of flesh from his body to pay his loan. Okay? Then students, read the story very attentively and please be attentive and stay tuned with your families. Okay? Goodbye.